Hi, I'd like to talk today about the concept of is it good or is it bad? Humans really enjoy labeling things. They enjoy calling things good, bad, right, wrong. In my journey, I've learned to really try to step away from labeling things and judging things as such. And I've really kind of adopted the attitude that the universe, God, whatever higher power you'd like to refer to, whatever name you call it, always conspires for my highest. Meaning that even when things are rough, when there's a struggle, when things are happening in my life that are painful or not very fun or difficult, that I still always look for the silver linings, the gems, the nuggets, the things that sparkle in the midst of the darkness to give me something to hold on to that brings meaning to difficulty. And so I have tried for a long time now not to label things good or bad because often I find that through the struggles, often there's silver linings and gems that I couldn't have gotten any other way. Sometimes when I find myself slogging through the mud, feeling like I can't get ahead, everything's going wrong, or even when things are really painful and I'm heartbroken, or things are just extraordinarily challenging, I believe those things come along to to trigger consciousness and to make us more aware of ourselves, of our surroundings, of what's going on in the world around us, as well as especially what's going on inside of us. Because when we do that, we get connected with our consciousness. And our consciousness and our awareness helps us navigate the world and kind of take the bull by the horns and not necessarily be drug with whatever the difficulty is, but kind of stay buoyant and stay above it and help flow through it. So I try not to judge things as good or bad because often there's great things that come out of really difficult things and you often can't realize them till later. So, one example would be if somebody lost a really good job, well, that seems absolutely devastating. And it can be. It can be heartbreaking. It can be financially breaking. It can cause all kinds of upheaval in our lives. But what if, as you got down the road, you ended up starting your own business and you were happier than you'd ever been working for someone else? Or maybe even wealthier than you'd ever been working for someone else. When it comes down to it, was the layoff good or was it bad? It might have felt bad for a time, but it ended up leading you to something really good that you may not have ever done had you had that cushy job with the insurance and the comfort of the routine and all of that. So that's one example of is it good or is it bad? Another example would be one time I had gotten all dressed up for work. I was wearing this really pretty cream color silk dress. And before I left, I realized I'd had tomato soup for lunch and I hadn't put it away yet. So I went to put it away and I poured it in the bowl, and the tomato soup splashed all down the front of my cream colored dress. Well, I was already running late and I was a little bit aggravated. But that had been during the time when I had been learning about the concept of is it good or is it bad? So I decided to clear my energy, accept the fact that this has happened, and go upstairs and change my clothes and get ready to go to work in my new outfit. And so while I was getting dressed, I thought, all right, is it good or is it bad? It seems bad and I'm going to be late, but maybe there's a higher reason that this happened. So, got in my car, started headed for work, And when I got on the freeway, there had been a wreck that hadn't even been like five, 5 minutes or so before that. And it only took me 5 minutes to get dressed. And so I thought, if that tomato soup had not spilled down the front of my dress, I would have been on time. Who knows? Maybe I would have been involved in that accident. So, just a couple examples of helping to bring perspective, to kind of back off the judgment a little bit of whether things are good or bad, and to encourage to look for silver linings and gems and nuggets that may not have been able to happen had that thing that didn't feel so good happen. And when you find those, it helps bring perspective and helps ground you in the idea a little bit more to back out of the energy of the judgment. Oh, this is terrible. Even though it feels terrible, go ahead and admit that it feels terrible and even that you don't like what's going on. But resolve within yourself that you're going to try to take as much good out of it as you possibly can. So you walk away from the negative experience with something positive. And it also makes you a lot more buoyant inside. It makes your heart lighter to have something else to look at and consider. This has been a sage inspiration from askalicia.com.